Hi guys, I'm going to show you how to format CSPs and get them ready to post. So for this example, I'm going to show you how to format the soup CSP. And at this point in time, I have generated the soup CSP several times. I've made sure that it looks okay. It's gone through copy editing, and I know it looks perfect and it's ready to format and post. So I'm just going to start out on the home page of the database. And I'm going to go to the soup category. I'm going to click this button called Generate CSP. I'm going to let that process. And it looks like it's done. So now to go find it, I'm in the soup product, and I'm going to click on Product Category Documents. And so this document at the top here is the one that I just generated. So I'm just going to click on it. And I'm going to click Edit instead of Read Only, because I want to make changes to the document and I want to actually save them back to the database. So I'm going to click Edit and I'm going to click OK. And this will actually take a while for it to open up. So you might notice your Microsoft Word says not responding. That's actually a good thing. It means it's opening it up, and we'll just sit here and wait for it to open. Still waiting. Okay, so now it's open. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so that everyone can see. Okay, and just to save myself some time on the front end to make sure I don't get all the way through editing and then I have to start all over again, I'm just going to check a few things at the beginning. So I want to make sure that there is a product category icon attached. There should be a picture of your product category in the top right. And then I also want to scroll down to the hotspots, and I want to make sure that none of these boxes on the right are blank. So I want to make sure every hotspot, additional issue, and stakeholder concern has at least one improvement opportunity attached. So I'm going to make sure these boxes are not blank, and it looks like they're not. And again, you should check this before you're ever even to this point several times. So everything looks good. And then I want to do the same thing for improvement opportunities. So I want to make sure that every improvement opportunity has at least one hotspot, additional issue, or stakeholder concern attached. I want to make sure that at least one of these three boxes has a number or multiple numbers in it. So it looks good here. There's no blanks. No blanks still. I'm just going to keep scrolling through. These look good. Okay, now we're ready for formatting. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to check is that every one of these sections actually has text in it. So sometimes the lead researcher might decide that a particular section, it's not necessary to have text in that section, so they might leave it blank, and if that were the case, then you would actually delete that section. That's not the case here, so I'm just going to make sure. Yeah. So all these are fine, but if so, you would just delete the section. The next thing I want to check for the intro material is that all the pages are breaking in the correct place. So this looks fine, for example, but sometimes you might see, like, it might look like this. Additional issue might be down here, and the section heading is still on the previous page, so you might want to move it down to the next page. And there's two ways that you can try to do that. The first one is to put your cursor before the beginning of that line and just click up here on paragraph, click on that little arrow and click on line and page break, and then check the box next to keep with next. So I'm going to say OK, and that didn't work. Most of the time it will, but another option that's available to you is to place your cursor before that line and say insert and then page break. And that actually did work. So anyway, it looks fine at the beginning, so I'm just going to go back to the way that it originally was. Okay, so this looks fine, and all this looks fine, so now we're ready to actually edit the tables. So I just want to make sure for these tables that all of the page breaks are happening in the correct spot. And so you'll notice, for example, here, this hotspot, energy consumption packaging production, it's actually trying to stretch that box and that hotspot across these two pages, and we don't want that. So just like before, there's two options to fix this. You can put your cursor before the line, and you can go to the Home tab and say Paragraph, the little arrow, line and page breaks, and click the box, check the box next to Keep with Next, and say OK. That actually worked. Now, if that did not work, let me undo that. I'll show you another option. You can actually try to highlight all of the boxes and then try that same thing. So Paragraph, Keep with Next. That works too. And then if those two things don't work, then you can also try to use the page break function. But the end result, however you do it, we want to see this blue header bar at the top of this page. We want this hotspot to not be stretched across the two pages. And then we want to make sure that there's a solid line at the bottom of the table on the previous page. So this one looks good now. I'm going to check the next one, and the same thing's happening. So I'm going to highlight it all, say Paragraph, line and page breaks, Keep with Next, and say OK. That fixed it. Okay. And now you'll see that there are no additional issues. So we actually want to get rid of this section. But I actually want to call something to your attention. So hopefully it'll save you time in figuring it out. Unlike myself, it took me a while to figure it out. So let me show you what happens. So we have to be really careful with it. Okay, so let's scroll to the top. If you'll notice, there's the Sustainability Consortium icon is up here, and notice how this header looks. Well, watch what happens if I just carelessly delete this section. So I'm going to just highlight, I'm going to highlight all that and press delete. Okay, now let's go back to the top and see what that did. It actually deleted all of this header information, almost. And so we don't want that, so I'm going to undo that and show you how to do it another way to avoid that from happening. So I'm going to just display this paragraph marker so I can kind of see what's going on. So I'm going to just play with it here. So I think what's going on is that when you delete the section break, that's when it gets rid of it. So I think if you are careful you can delete everything but the section break, I think it's okay. So I'm going to say delete. You'll see I left the section break in there. Let's see if that was okay. Yeah, it is. Okay, so let's try the same thing for stakeholder concerns. Let me get rid of the page break. That's all right. I'm going to say delete. Make sure we're good. We are. And then I'm going to delete all of this. It's okay to delete the page breaks, just not the section breaks. I'm going to delete all of that and check it again. And we're okay. All right, so it looks like we're home free. I'm going to get rid of those paragraph markers and proceed with the tables. But yeah, that's something definitely to keep an eye on and definitely check before you post this CSP. Okay, so scrolling back to where we left off, the improvement opportunities. So just like the hotspots tables, I want to make sure that all the page breaks are happening in a good spot. So this one looks fine, but this one is not. So I actually want this blue box to shift down to the next page. So I'm going to put my cursor before that F, and I'm going to go to paragraph, line of page breaks, keep with next, say OK, and that worked. This one looks fine. That's fine. Okay, and we're good. And there's also no weird blank pages at the end. So I'm going to scroll back to the beginning, and there's just one more step left. And notice my header is looking good. Okay, so I want to bring to your attention the version number in this header bar. So I'm going to double click up here so you can see this. And this version number is what we're talking about. I'm going to zoom into this so you can all see it. All right, so each time you generate, it's just going to put version number 1, and you actually have to correct it for the version number that we're actually in. So I'm going to pull up a database view and show you something. So if you ever forget how to do the version numbers, you can just go to the home page of the database, go over here to shared documents under libraries, I'm going to click that. And the SMRS manual will always be stored on here. So at any time you can click on that SMRS manual and search for the section on version numbers, and it'll tell you how to do that. And I actually have already opened one up, so I happen to know right now it's on page 45. Not sure if that'll be true in the future, but I just want to pull this up and have everyone look at it. Okay, so these first 3 spots are seen by members. So these first 3 spots are what we want to use when we're posting. And this first spot is the version number, essentially. So, for example, soup, we have this is the first time we're doing soup. So that's actually going to be a 1. And this minor is the number of times it's been sent to SAP. Well, that number is going to be 0 for this case because we have not sent it to SAP yet. And then the draft number is this 3rd spot, and we're actually in draft 1. So I'm about to format the draft 1 CSP for soup, and this is the first time we're doing soup. So actually the correct version number would be 101. And so I'm going to go back to that document we're looking at, formatting the soup document. So essentially what we're doing is we're putting in the version number .0.draft number. And like I said, the version number in this case is 1 because it's the first time we've done it. I'm going to put a 1 there. We sent it to SAP 0 times, so there's a 0 there. And when I say we've sent it to SAP 0 times, we've sent this version to SAP 0 times. So for example, if we had done soup before, this was a revision and this were a 2, we still haven't sent this version to SAP, so that would still be a 0. And then like I said, it's a draft 1, so I'm going to put a 1 there, and that's the correct version number. Yeah, I'm going to get out of there. And I think that's it for formatting. So the last step, I'm just going to go up here and I'm going to click Save. When I click Save, that's actually going to save it back to the database. So just to prove that, remember we're in soup in the product category documents. If I were to go click on that document again, I'll just do read only so we can open it quickly. Let it open. Still takes a little while. Still waiting. Okay, and so I opened it up, and you can see just from that version number, even in the corner, that this is one that I've edited and saved back. So now we're ready for posting.